All right, good evening, everyone. We are going to get started. I'm going to call the meeting of the Auburn School Committee, the January 8th meeting of the Auburn School Committee to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'll start down here on my right with introductions.
Dan Poisson, Ward 5.
Quinn Gormley, Ward 4.
Corin McWigan, Ward 1. Pam Hart, Ward 2.
Pamela Albert at large.
Sue Doris, Superintendent.
Pat Cartier, Ward 5. What am I in? Let's start over. Pat Cartier, Ward 3.
Jay Rich at large.
Adam Platt, City Council Representative.
Connor Dufour, Student Representative.
Amanda Kuchar, Business Manager.
Scott Anier, Assistant Superintendent.
Thank you and welcome back, everyone, and Happy New Year. I'm going to start with the approval of our consent agenda, which includes the approval of tonight's agenda, the approval of the minutes of our December 18th, 2024 meeting. Do I have a motion? Corin, do I have a second? Jay, all those in favor? Motion carries. It does not look like we have anyone here for public participation tonight, and we do not have a presentation. Do we have a school committee student representatives report?
First of all, I hope everyone had a great holiday break, the nice extended break this year. At EL, we are starting preparation for our finals that won't be next week, but the following week. We have a newly designed schedule that students are very eager about. This year we've adjusted it a little bit so that there's a break in between your first and second final, which I think is great because last year I went from French, which was 3 parts, a speaking, writing, and listening, to a math final, and that was just brutal. And then on top of that, our LRTC students have been working very hard. Yesterday at Lewiston, they hosted their local Skills USA competitions. And tomorrow at EL, they will host the rest of them. Those winners will go on to states down in Bangor. It's a great leadership opportunity and a great time for kids to put their skills that they've been working hard on to practical applications.
Excellent, thank you. Anyone have any questions for Connor? All right, thank you. Moving on to our superintendent's report, Dr. Doris.
Thank you, Chairperson Albert. The first item tonight is the recognition of Todd Sampson for receiving the National Federation of State High School Associations Citation Award. Todd's with us tonight. Why don't you stand up for a minute, Todd, and I'll share with everyone what this award is about. We are proud to recognize Todd Sampson, the athletic director at Edward Little High School, for receiving the NFHS Citation Award on December 16th, 2024 in Austin, Texas. This prestigious award is given annually to outstanding athletic directors for their contributions to interscholastic athletics at the local, state, and national levels. This national honor celebrates Todd's 25 years of exceptional service to athletics. He has served as president of the Maine Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association, led statewide initiatives, and was named Maine's Athletic Administrator of the Year. Nationally, Todd has advanced athletic programs through the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association by chairing committees and contributing to strategic planning efforts. We are incredibly proud of Todd for this well-deserved honor. Please join me in celebrating his achievement and thanking him for his outstanding leadership and service to the Auburn school community. Congratulations, Todd. And now you can come sit up next to Mr. Neer. The next item we have tonight is an update on the new gym floor.
Mr. Anier and I are going to have a conversation later because he told me that was the only reason I was coming to this session. We'll speak later. And thank you for that recognition. It was great to be recognized locally by your peers. I have a strong feeling that Jason Fuller across the bridge was the person that nominated me for that award, so just very humble, very honored, so thank you. A lot of thank yous to go out for the gym floor. Certainly not a situation we wanted to be in a brand new building, but everybody rallied behind, and as you know, most construction projects have a lot of sometimes delays and sometimes, oh, what are we going to do about this? This went as smooth as I've seen a construction project go, and I think a lot of it, Amanda had a huge piece of getting things rolling as soon as possible, but kudos to All-American Sports Flooring and Hussey Seating. Everything went seamless from the day they walked through the door with demolition and Mike Dumay and Mark Kelly and Sean Marsh and that whole crew, making sure that the dumpster was there on time. It went very, very well. So not to bore you with all the details, but from the day of after the homecoming events, they started in with demo, got right on it so that Hussey could come in and refix the bleachers that needed to be worked on. And from that point, it was just trying to make sure that we could coordinate winter athletics because those were on happening. In the fall, we were really, kudos to Steph Maris at Park Ave, because we played all of our volleyball matches there. If we wouldn't have done that, we would have really been struggling to just trying to find space. So Steph helped us out. Ben Wilson at AMS with basketball practice. Dave Gagne, we played games at CM. We played games at St. Dom. So it was really a community effort to make it happen. But we, kudos to Amanda again for getting ServPro in so quickly. 2 days before Christmas, we had a crew of 4 or 5 people in there because there was dust everywhere. It was dusty. So they took care of all that the 2 days before Christmas. We practiced the day after Christmas and had our first real games in there on the 27th. And our 2 new basketball coaches are extremely happy to be back in the gym. Last Saturday we had a full day of wrestling, we had a full day of basketball, so everybody is happy to be back home.
Any questions for Todd?
I have one question. Was this ahead of the timeline that was originally projected? Because I thought originally we were not supposed to be back in the gym until mid-January.
So it's interesting when you start to talk to the actual boots on the ground. John from All-American Sports was hoping to be done by the holiday break, but when you talk to Marge in the office, she was certain that was too aggressive, that she thought maybe Martin Luther King Day. And I think they were just trying to make sure that if there was a delay in supplies or the curing of the poly or any of those things, but they held true to it. They got it done for us.
Excellent. Yeah.
And I will add one thing. I know now that we've been back in, a lot of the community members are extremely interested in when all of our state championship banners are going up and our sportsmanship banners and our Mr. and Miss Basketball jerseys. So working with Mark Kelly, those trying not to interrupt, because once again, this was a huge, huge disruption for our physical education teachers. So trying not to disrupt any more of their classes in the next couple of weeks. The professional development day on the 27th, Monday, the 27th, if I have my calendar right. That's when Mark's going to have his crew in. And so all of those banners, because we had a lot of alumni home over the break, and they want to see those banners up. So we will have those up by the end of the month. Fingers crossed.
Great.
All right. Thank you for the update. Next, we will hear from Mr. Anir with a brief update on facilities.
Yes. So this We received word about 2 weeks ago, a week ago, that Scott Brown and the Department of Education School Construction and Renovation Committee would be coming to evaluate our applications. So I've been meeting with the building principals to review their application, go over the details, and talk about how we present that information, not just the details of the building, but also the demographics of each of their subgroups and their overall enrollments. So they get a strong sense of what is actually happening in our schools, as well as to bring life to what does that say in the application about the challenges that the building presents to each of those schools in the application. So just a quick reminder, it's all 6 of the elementary schools plus the Auburn Middle School. Next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I will be with the School Construction Committee and Scott Brown to tour the buildings and meet with the building principals to get a sense of what is happening in those facilities and what are the needs and how do the buildings' struggles inhibit the delivery of education. So those things are happening, as well as we're in the phase of pulling together what the Standing Facilities Committee will comprise, and hopefully we'll have a meeting set up by the end of the month.
Thank you. Any questions?
Great, thank you. I do not have a chairperson's report tonight. Adam, do we have a city council update?
Yes, thank you. Just a couple bullet points. Just, I guess, summarily to go over on Monday what happened. We had a joint workshop with the school committee and the city council. It was more conceptual as opposed to details based. I think the big things to bring up now, Dr. Doris and City Manager Kroll, I guess the talking point is that there will not be new services or programs this year. I think that's not to say that we don't have budget drivers that will still make this a difficult budget cycle. But as far as the creation of new services and programs, that is not on the radar at this moment. There were a few city councilors who spoke up, I think, just to express kind of their opinions with the budget cycle, and Councilor Walker in specific spoke and kind of raised his opinion that it will be difficult to pass a budget with large percentage raises. So I mean, there's 7 of us on the council, so that was just one person. But just to reiterate, that's what was said and that's what was presented. So other than that, we didn't get into too much detail. I think it's a little premature to do that at this point. But I think that the city council and the school board kind of know where we all stand, and I think we kind of understand what we'll be working on over the next few months. So I think that was great to have everybody in the same room. Also in that meeting, I wanted to bring this up. It doesn't directly relate to the school department, but the city transferred ownership of 3 parcels of land to Auburn Housing. And the intent for that is there's a collaborative effort to pursue it's called a housing first model, which creates housing for the neediest homeless populations. It's a great model. We were kind of pitched on the idea at a previous meeting from the folks at Preble Street and a couple other large players in that arena. It's been very successful in Portland and some other communities in the state, and so nothing is finalized, but Auburn will be pursuing trying to get one of these. I believe it's a 30-bed building. There's a lot that needs to happen for us to get awarded all of the financing for that. This is not something that affects the taxpayers of Auburn. I think we took $50,000 of dirt value is the value of the parking lot. No taxes were being paid on that. It was city-owned. So this will now go to a developer who can create, first of all, can create a great thing, but everybody always asks about money, so also it's something that will generate some taxes as well. So I only bring it up because unhoused folks are a conversation both at the school level and at the city level, and so I think anytime we talk about that, I think it's important to bring up in this chamber. So I wanted to bring that up. And I guess lastly to say we had our finance committee meeting today. Nothing to report on yet until the minutes come out from that, but I will be giving a report on that at our next meeting when the minutes are available to the public. And that's all I've got.
Great, thank you. I know there was a policy subcommittee meeting and the minutes are linked, but if it's okay with both Dan and Pat, I might just wait for your comments and summaries, and because both of those items are on our new business agenda, if that's all right. So we don't have any old business, so moving on to our new business, I will entertain a motion to approve policy AUB JFABD, education of students experiencing homelessness, for a first reading. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Quinn?
Second.
Second, Pam. Could either Dan or Pat just give us a summary of this policy and the changes that are being recommended?
Yeah, so we had that meeting, and Sasha had done a lot of the legwork to align the policies with the MSA and change the, basically the legal reference section of it. Yeah, to match, and she did, like I said, she did a lot of the work, because that's what she does. And then, to gender neutral language. So that's basically what we did.
And also the changing of the terminology about students
terminology.
experiencing homelessness.
Yeah.
Yep. Pat?
That's what I wanted to reference. Yeah, homeless students versus students experiencing homelessness speaks
Yes.
a lot clearer about that they're not children who are homeless.
Right.
So she did a good job
It's a
explaining that
circumstance,
to
not a
us.
characteristic.
It's not a characteristic,
Yep.
so I really appreciated her putting that information in our heads.
Yep. Does anyone have any other questions or discussion around this policy before we vote? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of approving policy AUB JFABD, education of students experiencing homelessness, for a first reading? Motion carries. Moving on, I will entertain a motion to approve policy AUB JFABD-R, education of students experiencing homelessness, regulations, for a first reading. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Pat, Quinn, sorry. And again, any quick summation of changes to this policy? Again, I think it's the changing of the phrasing, alignment with the new regulations, definitions. Anyone have any questions or discussions? Corin?
Under definitions and the including that it lacks the fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence, it says trailer parks, but trailer parks are we talking like a campground? Or I was just getting stuck on that word, because there are trailer parks that are mobile homes that are regular homes.
I think we did not talk about that, but I think it just means perhaps the new language is mobile homes. Yeah.
As in like a camper, or, because a mobile home is a home?
A home.
This is under definitions B1, I believe. Living in motels, hotels, trailer parks, or camping grounds due to lack of alternative adequate accommodations.
It seems like that second piece is the qualifier. If they're somewhere because another alternative doesn't
Yeah.
exist. Meaning if you live in a mobile home, that's you
Yeah.
live in a mobile home.
Right. This is specifying non-permanent housing. Yep. Anyone else have any? Yes, Quinn?
I had a question. It's from the same section, possibly. It's been a couple of years since I've taken mandated reporter training, but I seem to recall a minor living outside of the home for greater than 6 months is a mandated reportable event. I'm seeing nods. Is that addressed anywhere in here?
I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but wouldn't that fall under the McKinney-Vento Act itself? Wouldn't Sasha be considered a mandated reporter?
Yes, she is considered a mandated
Yeah.
reporter.
So I don't know as though that needs to be addressed in policy where that's part of her role. Is that
Would that be in
correct?
the statute? Yeah, that would be wouldn't necessarily be in the policy.
Correct.
In the sta-
Right.
I think she mentioned something about
Yes,
other things that are in the statute that don't need to be in the policy.
yeah.
One of the things that we did do was to put, it talks in here somewhere about the statute, but they don't define it, and so we added specifically in the legal references, the McKinney-Vento to designate what statute they're talking about, so we did add that.
Okay.
Does she disclose her mandated reporting role before students disclose being unhoused to her?
I would have to ask her specifically what she says.
I wonder if that might be something worth considering requiring. There can be some very good reasons a young person might not want to be reported on if they're unhoused, and might be looking for help, and it ends up being less helpful and potentially causing harm, and I'd encourage us to consider that.
Okay. Any other thoughts or discussion before we consider this policy?
I have a question about the mandated reporter. Are all teachers mandated reporters? Everybody in the school system is a mandated reporter, correct?
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Should we table that until we hear from her?
Does it affect the policy?
I don't think it does affect the policy. I think we can move forward with the policy.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think it affects the policy. Okay. So, all those in favor of approving policy AUB JFABDR, education of students experiencing homelessness, regulations for a first reading? Motion carries. So we have our list of our upcoming meetings. Our next regular school committee meeting is on January 22nd. So just a reminder that we are slightly off on our typical schedule this month because of the January 1st holiday. Do I have any future agenda items or requests for information?
I've requested an update on how many students in our district are experiencing homelessness at a couple meetings and haven't gotten that number yet. If that could get followed up on, I'd appreciate it.
We'll get that number out to you, and we also, for our next Health and Safety Subcommittee meeting, we will have a presentation from Sasha, so we'll have an update then as well.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
I
yep.
forgot to add in my report, the next city, for anyone who watches the city council meetings, the next one is not 2 weeks from Monday, because that's Martin Luther King Day. So our next city council meeting will actually be January 21st, which is a Tuesday.
Okay. Great. Thank you for that update. Okay, at this time, I will entertain a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to 1 MRSA 4056D for the purpose of labor contract negotiations. Do I have a motion?
Seconded.
Corin, Quinn. All those in favor? We are now in executive session. Thank you so much, everyone.